Do you have Alhaji Mahmood Othman is an analyst and he's also in this conference. Thank you for coming on this one, Alhaji.
You're welcome.
Well,
good morning to those.
Yeah, it's interesting how this meeting is coming on now, but people will be waiting to see what eventually happens because listening, I think Chukuma deliberately just made sure he got a track, a comment or two from as much as he can get for time. I would have gotten everybody to speak up. But they're all speaking now about this because before now, the impression was they were discordant tunes. But now that we heard them speak, how do we interpret those comments from those meetings, from that meeting?
Well, first of all, the meeting was long overdue. The Nigeria ruling class do not have to wait until they are boxed into a corner by a bunch of anarchists. Then suddenly they now realize they have to sit together and proper solutions or at least suggestions of how to go about it. But one of the problems I have with the Nigerian system is that while one shoots as we shout about respect to our constitution, one of the biggest casualties of our Nigerian democracy is freedom of expression. Immediately somebody says something you personally don't like, you go on the onslaught. People who are on the ground, like Governor of Bonu, said something about this security problem we're talking about. And the federal government and some agents of federal government came and denounced him and said he was shouting foul and so on and so on. And then Governor Nyako said something. And everybody was on him, he's going to destabilize the country and so on and so forth. But the problem is, Governor Nyako, to be fair to him, was the former chief of naval staff. And he is in his second term, I think, as governor. And he is on the ground. And his state and two other states are on this, but that particular corner of Nigeria are on the run. Let me put it that way. So if they say something, instead of, first of all, it is frustration. If there's communication, proper communication, we wouldn't hear all these things they are confessing to us or telling us. But if they are left alone to do their own self-service, then of course, out of frustration, out of you are disappointed, maybe you say one thing or the other, nobody is listening or nobody is acting. And for example, if you are talking about security in the Northeast, there is no excuse why after Buniyadi incident, that federal government college attack, another one will take place anywhere within the 3 states or anywhere in Nigeria. But we shout, we make noise, when it shoots us, immediately the issue subsides, we go back to sleep.
But we can't afford to now, especially now that they met. We expect
well, I wish you are in that executive position to talk categorically the way you are talking. But we have gone through this all over again. In the first place, there is no excuse whatsoever why even this crisis would have come. Whether you call it Boko Haram or insurgency or whatever you call it, we now have reached a situation from small hit and run criminals to a bunch of anarchists now who have no respect for institutions, who have no respect for human life, who have no respect for anything. And they can hide behind any religion they like, but definitely it has nothing to do with religion. If you say you are promoting one particular religion and you go in to attack that religion itself, because, I mean, if Ahl Sunnah or Boko Haram want to claim that they are Muslims, there is no Muslim I know anywhere in the world who will just go and, when Muslims are in prayer session, to shoot the imam or to destroy a mosque. You overrun a village 2 a.m. in the morning. You destroy schools, you destroy houses, you open fire. It doesn't matter whether you are hitting a building or you are hitting a human being or you are hitting an animal. It doesn't matter whether it's a woman or a child. You don't discriminate. Then you set out the schools, the police station, the banks, the mosques, and go away. So there's no religion.
Alhaji, you've spoken a little on the freedom of expression and how our constitution guarantees it, but looking very critically at the statement of Governor Nyako, would you, he has been, even by fellow governors in the Northern Governors Forum, they have also said that leaders need to be temperate with the kind of things that they say. Can we really justify? Because genocide is a very strong word, and accusing the federal government of perpetrating genocide, saying that the federal government is trying to depopulate the north, that is definitely something that can cause an uproar, especially within the two divides of the country.
Well, English is not our language we copy. We are copying it. Maybe we go back to mother's tongue. But it's just a choice of words. You may not go categorically and say federal government is doing something, but if federal government neglects its own duty, in what language are you going to put it properly for people to understand? Now, I said before, there's a breakdown in communication between the presidency, the governors themselves. Each one is doing his own thing. If they are communicating on a regular basis and there's mutual respect from all of them, we wouldn't hear all these things they are talking about. It's just like General Obasanjo's letter. We didn't know about it until something happened. Maybe they refused to respond to whatever. Then he went public. So a whole governor, if the system is working, you have a National Council of States. That's why that issue would have been tabled. But in a situation where you declare state of emergency for a whole year, every 500 meters is a wonderful checkpoint. Try to go to Kaduna from Abuja and see how you swim to. Or just take Abuja Kepi. See what people are suffering because of checkpoints. All over Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe. Those are the kind of military checkpoints you have. And there's a state of emergency, there's a curfew. It used to be, at the beginning there are even cases where 24-hour curfew was imposed. Then it was relaxed, I think from 10 o'clock to 6 a.m.
But Elijah,
So how do you now, whoever is doing it, whether it is federal government agents themselves, whether it is the terrorists, whether the peace columnists, the ones who are accusing in public probably are not the ones that are something. For example, when you talk of planning husband, that's a different issue. But what I'm saying is...
No, I think it's even part of it. We'll also come to that and also look at the Fulani headsman issue because you talked about communication breakdown,
yes,
and which I think is a big point you just raised there. And I'm hoping that the meeting yesterday should have resolved all of this because now they have actually moved in, plus the security chiefs and all the governors, they've spoken and maybe told themselves they had truth. And if you say we have checkpoints after every 500 meters and we'll still see some, kidnappings, killings and shootings by some of those people, that is why some people are also asking the input of some of these leaders in the region as well as those in authority. But in moving forward, Elijah Othman, what do you think we have actually failed in this 1 year of emergency in that particular region that we should be thinking of how to rejig to see that we score big point on our own side?
Since the beginning of this crisis, one of those pedestrians like me, what we know, we are not in uniform, we are not X this or X that, but ordinary common sense, and anybody who is knowledgeable about what is happening in the world, there is problem of intelligence gathering. I tell you, if you are graded, if the Nigerian armed forces, all of them put together, and paramilitary, you give them a test, they have scored D- in information gathering. That's what is missing. Because there is no excuse whatsoever of most of the things that has taken place. And whether emergency or no emergency, the fact that that is their duty, that's what they are paid to do. But a situation where you come and park school girls, about 200 of them, in Hilux jeeps, and all people move about, the terrorists move about in green military vehicles. They are dressed in military uniforms. You can say fake, or it doesn't matter. To the one who is on the receiving end, it doesn't matter whether he's fake or he's genuine. And then drive all along, maybe from Maiduguri to Damboa. Try driving from Lagos to Ilorin or to Bida. That distance you cover, nobody sees you.
In the thick of the night, actually.
Well, even whether in the night there is a curfew, there is no movement. Officially, there is no movement. So how do you have a convoy of 10 Hilux vehicles? How do you go with armored personal carrier, a tank, a military tank?
We had
So,
what was his name yesterday?
and
He
they
said
did it?
that the pictures, some of those pictures were not shot in Nigeria,
Okay, even
but the ones that they were kidnapped,
why
so those
don't
they were
okay, hold on.
trucks.
Chamberlain, the people at the receiving end, the people there, they are living witnesses. They are there. They know who come to attack them. They know who, when they disperse into the bush, they know what they are running away from. So all this academic exercise, it's okay for people to sit in Abuja and denounce anybody who says something they don't like.
No, but for this
But
meeting,
that will not solve the problem.
yeah, but it looks as if this meeting will not take any excuse whatsoever. And then they mandated that, look, the military, they should rescue those girls unharmed.
Well, you see, we cannot afford innocent children to become another Malaysian Flight 370. How can that happen? You cannot, nobody will convince me. Either you pack these girls, cross over into Cameroon. First of all, the Cameroonians, the Chadians, the Nigerians are not like Nigerians. You cannot cross into their own country without their knowledge. And they are not, you can call Nigeria out of, because we have forest heads, because of our corruption. You can say we have forest borders. They don't have forest borders across. Their population is a minute percentage of our own. But you cannot dare cross into Cameroon without Cameroonians knowing that somebody, an outsider, has that. They will repel it. They are gendarmes. The same with Chad, the same with Cameroon. So where are these? So they created one forest. Maybe it has been there since the days of Adam and Eve. But it's only now, we now discover that it's a no-go area for us. If the terrorists kidnap anybody, the lame excuse you get that must have taken them into that forest. I even forget the name. It doesn't mean anything to me.
But part of the comment that came through at the time was also how they attack and move back into Cameroon, which we can't just go in just like that.
I tell you, it's not. It's a good excuse. A bad workman quarrels with his tools. So just say, create anything. And since we are all gullible, you believe in anything.
Yeah, but Alhaji, let's see, because we also spoke with the spokesperson of the Borno State Governor, and one of the things we wondered, while speaking with him was how did this particular attack happen, especially after what happened in Buniyadi. We would have thought that, schools would have been under, protection. And he said that this particular girls' government school in Chibok, Chibok was a relatively safe area, that even in areas of state of emergencies, you can understand that there will be some other places that will be more volatile than others, and that it was never anticipated that Chibok will ever come under attack. From your own assessment, from your knowledge of Borno State, even under a state of emergency, would you agree with that assessment?
Well, it is true. Well, when you are talking of Chibok, Goza, you are talking of the extreme southern corner of Borno State, where it has a common border with Adamawa and one side of it Gombe. But that is naivety. I was thinking that if I am the State Commissioner for Education, if I am the governor of any state, one particular school somewhere is attacked, all the schools will be on alert. Now, for this particular incident, just like the other one of Buniyadi, they claim that the schools were closed. What these victims came to take exam, either WAEC or NECO or something like that. So that even makes the job easier for security and whoever it is to secure a smaller number of people. And it didn't happen.
Well, they had said that the governor wanted to move the students to, the main town, wanted to move them to Maiduguri, that the people of Chibok had said, leave them in our care. And the governor had a tough decision of either leaving them in Chibok or, or taking the blame if something else had happened to them wherever it is he was going to take them to.
Well, all that I tell you is, go back to my word, that's just naive. Because what if it is in Abadan or Gaidam or any one of the towns in Borno or Yobe? What difference does it make? One attack in one school makes Queen's College Yaba be alert to start looking. If one school is attacked by whatever, you start suspecting any little foreign black nylon bag dropped by somebody else, whichever school you are, whether it's Federal Government Girls College, Bakori, or the one in Panshin, or anywhere else, the same story. But because we are Nigerians, it is happening somewhere else, it will not come to me. That's not the right thing to do. But all the same, it has happened. So there will be excuses now. Oh yes, we want to transfer them, somebody resisted. Who is in charge? Now, the other side of it is that whether there is war or not, one of the big sections of the military anywhere in the world is reconnaissance. You go on surveillance in advance. You don't have to wait for anything to happen.
So, pardon me, Elijah, we have to take the headlines now. Ayatollah Balogun standing by to give us that one. Go ahead, please.